Saved big time, too.
The right stuff.
Fridays on GMA. You're gonna love it.
Do you remember exactly where you were when you found out about Scandal?
The biggest scandal that has ever happened in reality show history.
It's one giant incestuous pool of swapping spit and nonstop drama.
It is shocking. How was I so blind to this? Then I start noticing how close they actually were. I just never imagined Sandoval would have done that to Ariana.
Mind-blowing. Impact by Nightline. Now streaming on Hulu.
With so much happening these days, it's hard to keep up.
Things change hour by hour, minute by minute.
The historic weather that's now unfolding.
The worries on Wall Street.
We're bringing you the Right Now. With a nationwide teacher shortage.
The Right Now look at the day ahead. An alert this morning for dog owners and the key takeaways from the biggest stories.
World News Now and America This Morning. America's #1 early morning news.
Today does feel a little different. Early mornings on ABC News Live.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
All right, here we go. Ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
Yeah. So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do? I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
GMA 7A. This morning, the one and only Samuel L. Jackson is in the house.
You gotta love it.
Plus, get ready to laugh with Jason Alexander, Eric McCormick, Alex Moffat, and Lily Cooper. Only on Tell 'em Sam.
Good morning, America.
With so much at stake in our world right now, we want to thank you for your trust and for making ABC News America's #1 news.
And thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
We are back now with the mix, although we should call it the mix and match. Hey, Pete, you might need some special music for this. So we start with the most romantic states, Andrea.
Yes, a fine jewelry expert analyzed Google search data looking at search terms like romantic getaways and florist near me.
And why am I single? No, I'm kidding. Coming in third place for the most romantic states, New York, where the top 3 search terms are engagement rings, florist near me, and romantic movies.
Number 2, get this, Delaware, loaded with romantic beaches. Their most popular search term is engagement rings.
And the most romantic state in the country, the Garden State, New Jersey, searching for wedding venues more than any other romantic term.
Who would have guessed?
Who lives in New Jersey? I question this. I do. A romantic polka next.
Do you remember exactly where you were when you found out about Scandal?
The biggest scandal that has ever happened in reality show history.
It's one giant incestuous pool of swapping spit and nonstop drama.
It is shocking. How was I so blind to this? Then I start noticing how close they actually were. I just never imagined Sandoval would have done that to Ariana.
Mind-blowing. Impact by Nightline. Now streaming on Hulu.
All right, here we go. Ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yeah.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do? I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
This is the craziest story. We're at a limit. Hollywood movie producer. Lola Kent, reality star, Vanderpump Rules.
This is the juiciest time in reality show history.
How could I not have been smarter?
It was awful to everyone.
This is certainly the underbelly of Hollywood.
I have to put up a big fight.
I do hope he gets what he deserves.
The Randall Scandal. Love, Loathing, and Vanderpump. Only on Hulu.
From America's #1 news source comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and it can customize to you and your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience what all the buzz is about. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
Reporting from Quincy, Massachusetts, I'm Stephanie Ramos. Wherever the story is, we will take you there. We're streaming ABC News Live.
Right now on America This Morning, the historic federal indictment of former President Donald Trump. New details overnight about the 7 charges he now faces in connection with the handling of classified documents.
His response overnight, and our team of experts weigh in on what's next legally and politically for Trump and what it could mean for the 2024 presidential campaign.
Also this morning, a developing story reports that China is looking to set up a base in Cuba to spy on the U.S. Reaction from Washington.
Clearing the air. While some parts of the Northeast are seeing better air quality, conditions are set to worsen in other parts of the country, and wildfires rage in Canada. The schools closing their doors today, and the major public events in jeopardy this weekend due to health concerns.
Plus, the Supreme Court's surprise ruling on voting rights in favor of black voters, how it could tip the balance of power in Congress.
An ABC News exclusive. The NFL coach who helped save a boy from drowning explains how he put to use the training he received after Damar Hamlin's cardiac arrest.
And later, a classic TV sitcom getting a 21st century reboot.
You're a what?
I'm a witch.
From ABC News in New York, this is America This Morning.
Good Friday morning, everyone. I'm Andrea from GE in for Rhiannon.
And I'm Andrew Dimber. We begin with the historic indictment of former President Donald Trump, reported first by ABC News.
For the first time in U.S. history, a former president is charged with federal crimes. The indictment relates to Trump's handling of classified documents. He'll be arraigned in Florida on Tuesday.
We've learned new details overnight about the charges against him, but what remains to be seen is the evidence the government will use to make its case. This morning, former President Trump is declaring his innocence in a new video, calling the federal indictment related to his handling of classified information a hoax.
So I just want to tell you, I'm an innocent man. I did nothing wrong. We will prove that very, very soundly and hopefully very quickly.
A special counsel appointed by the Justice Department has been investigating whether Trump violated the law or put national security at risk by holding on to documents marked classified at his Florida residence. Sources tell ABC News Trump faces 7 charges, including conspiracy and obstruction of the government's efforts to retrieve the documents. And at least one charge is related to the Espionage Act, which criminalizes anyone with unauthorized possession of national defense.
Which is ludicrous under the facts of this case, and I can certainly explain it, and several obstruction-based type charges, and then false statement charges, which are actually, again, kind of a crazy stretch just from the facts as we know it.
According to Trump's lawyer, his legal team has yet to see the actual indictment as of last night, only receiving a summons for Trump to appear for an arraignment next Tuesday in a federal courtroom in Miami.
His reaction was personal, but it wasn't. You know, he thought about it, he said, this is just a sad day. I can't believe I've been indicted. You know, those are kind of my summary words of what he had to say. But at the same time, he immediately recognizes the historic nature of this.
Last year, the FBI seized more than 100 documents with classified markings from Mar-a-Lago, along with 43 empty folders with classified banners after Trump failed to comply with a subpoena to return the records. Trump has claimed he declassified any material he took from the White House.
If you're the president of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it.
Sources say the indictment is expected to be a speaking indictment, meaning the government will lay out its case to the public in the Southern District of Florida, a venue known for its fast-moving proceedings.
This is not Manhattan. This is Miami, Florida. This is the Rocket Docket federal courthouse. We know that the marshals have been down there prepping for this, knowing this was a possibility.
The charges mark the second time Trump has been indicted since leaving office. Legal experts say the federal indictment in Miami is far more perilous than the charges from New York State in the so-called hush money case involving porn star Stormy Daniels.
We talk a lot about, well, there was the New York case also. I really do believe that case becomes secondary to this case. This one becomes much more significant. It becomes a much more overwhelming one, and this is where politics and law intersect.
If he's convicted, the maximum sentences for the charges Trump faces range from 5 to 20 years.
Let's get reaction to the indictment. ABC's Lindsay Watts is in Washington. Lindsay, good morning.
Good morning, Andrea. The word of the moment appears to be weaponization. Many Trump supporters are using that term to describe the federal investigators who are now charging Trump, including House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Last night, he called the indictment unconscionable. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Trump's top challenger in the Republican primary, also responded to the indictment, saying the weaponization of federal law enforcement represents a mortal threat to a free society. But former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, another Republican challenging Trump for the nomination, said no one is above the law.
If he committed a crime and there is evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to prove that crime, then he must be charged, he must be tried. What we're talking about here is the potentially illegal retention and use of classified documents regarding American national security. That's different than paying $140,000 to a porn star.
Meanwhile, former Vice President Mike Pence, who launched his presidential campaign this week, was scheduled to appear on Fox News last night, but he canceled that appearance after news of this indictment came out. Andrew?
Lindsay, thank you. So how will the indictment of Trump, the Republican frontrunner in the race for the White House, affect him politically? He's expected to attend rallies this weekend, and he's already fundraising off the indictment. I spoke earlier with ABC's political director, Rick Klein. So let's get right to the indictment in the election, specifically how this indictment could affect Trump's campaign for president. Our recent poll found 54% of Americans say Trump should face criminal charges in the document investigation, but within that group, about 20% say they'd still be inclined to vote for him anyway. Have voters already made up their mind here?
Yeah, it's a remarkable finding. It tells you just how much is baked in already about Donald Trump. Look, I think that there's a lot of reasons to be skeptical about numbers like that a year and a half out, but the context of the Republican primary matters here, and there's no reason to think that this is going to irreparably harm Donald Trump, as unthinkable as it would be to run under indictment. He is someone that's weathered all manner of controversy before.
And what about the timeline? If this goes to trial next year and takes Trump off the campaign trail, how damaging could that be?
If he tries to run for election while under indictment now in 2 different jurisdictions, there's still a third possible jurisdiction in Georgia. That means meeting court dates, finding timelines for appearances. You can imagine trying to build a campaign schedule around a court schedule in multiple jurisdictions in multiple states. Trump has his own plane, but he can't be in 2 places at once.
No doubt this is unprecedented. The first former president to face federal charges. Let's talk rhetorically. Say Trump is convicted, which of course is a possibility. He could still win the White House, and then once in office, could he pardon himself?
Yeah, look, he can definitely run. There's nothing in the Constitution or the law that would prevent him from doing so. The question of pardoning himself is a bit of a dicey one. It is unclear legally whether that's something that would be allowed. It's a bit of an untested theory. There's some scholars that don't think that it would be possible for him to do it, but we've seen Donald Trump challenge lots of untested theories in the past.
Our thanks to Rick Klein. Stay with ABC News on air and online for any new developments on the Trump indictment today.
Air quality in parts of the Northeast is improving, but smoke from wildfires in Canada remains a major health concern for millions of Americans. Washington, D.C. was shrouded in smoky haze yesterday, and those conditions are expected to persist today from the mid-Atlantic to Michigan. Today, public schools in Philadelphia will be remote only to keep kids safe. Same goes for many New York schools. Officials say tomorrow's Belmont Stakes outside New York City could be canceled if air quality deteriorates. We'll get the full forecast from AccuWeather in just a few moments.
Reaction is pouring in after reports claiming that China is trying to establish a base in Cuba for spying on the U.S. The Wall Street Journal reports a secret agreement has been reached to set up the base. The White House calls the report inaccurate, but the State Department does not deny it. The website Politico says China and Cuba are still in talks over establishing a base.
We turn now to a major decision from the Supreme Court on voting rights that could have a major impact on who controls Congress after the next election.
In a surprise ruling, Chief Justice John Roberts and conservative Brett Kavanaugh joined the court's liberal justices in striking down Alabama's congressional map, which critics say diluted the power of black voters. In a 5-4 decision, the court upheld a lower court ruling that found a redistricting map drawn by the Republican-led Alabama legislature violated the Voting Rights Act because it drew only one district out of 7 that had a majority of black voters, even though more than 1 in 4 Alabama residents are black. It's a decision experts say will have immediate consequences.
The Cook Political Report, which handicaps elections, changed its ratings for 5 House races, moving each one towards the Democrats.
In his opinion for the court, Chief Justice Roberts wrote the Voting Rights Act does not permit a state to provide some voters less opportunity to participate in the political process, adding that the record contained undeniable evidence of Alabama's extensive history of repugnant racial and voting-related discrimination. In his dissent, Justice Clarence Thomas said Roberts and the liberals have endorsed hijacking the districting process to pursue a goal that has no legitimate claim under our constitutional system, the proportional allocation of political power on the basis of race.
Political analysts say with Republicans enjoying only a slim majority in the House right now, this ruling could be a key factor in determining who controls the House after the 2024 election.
Time now for a look at your Friday weather.
Well, good morning. We're still dealing with that wildfire smoke, and you're going to be seeing it into Saturday. The thickest smoke, you're seeing it in the dark gray places like Pittsburgh and New York City, all the way through that I-95 corridor into Richmond. But if you're tired of it, you're going to like Sunday because the winds of change are bringing that smoke all the way back into Canada and improving the air quality. Now, for your weekend forecast, I've got beneficial rain for portions of the north central and northeast. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Michelle McLeod.
Coming up, closing their wallets, proof that Americans are tired of tipping.
But first, the NFL coach who helped rescue a child from drowning describes the training he got that helped save the boy.
And later, a UFO sighting reported in Las Vegas. The police response was anything but typical.
Whenever news breaks,
crushing families here in Poland.
Here in Kentucky, no match for the tornado.
From Monterey Park, California, on the ground in Ukraine.
Reporting from Uvalde, Texas.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
From Kathmandu, Nepal.
Truckee, California, covering record snowfall.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
Here at this airport in Tampa, it's already shut down.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Reporting from Jerusalem.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
Bring them on. If only there was a place in the morning to start my day. With a smile, somewhere to help me get in the know. A place that's spectacular as well. Me.
I think we might know a place, right, guys?
Bring your friends. Oh, wait, there is.
Good morning, America.
GMA, 7A, every day. Boom, boom, boom. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Robin. Good morning, America. How are you?
Boom. Now that's how you start your day, people.
All right, here we go. Ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
Yeah. So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do? I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
From America's #1 news comes the all-new ABC News app. If you love being in the know, you're going to love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
Joran Vandersloot, prime suspect in the disappearance of Alabama student Natalie Holloway, will be arraigned in Birmingham today after being extradited from Peru, where he's serving time in a different murder case. Vandersloot faces extortion and wire fraud charges linked to the Holloway case. If he's convicted in Alabama, he'll return to Peru to complete his murder sentence before returning to the U.S.
The NFL coach who helped rescue a boy from drowning is now speaking out about the tense moments. He says the training he got after Damar Hamlin's cardiac arrest helped save the day. Here's ABC's Derek Dennis.
This morning, Raheem Morris, the defensive coordinator for the L.A. Rams, is describing the moment he jumped into action to save a boy in danger of drowning in a Las Vegas hotel pool.
I'm sitting down in the corner, and my kids are all in the pool, and I hear a scream.
That scream was for a boy who had no pulse and was unresponsive, being carried out of the pool by his frantic dad.
I was sitting in a chair, and my 7-year-old son runs over and says, Wyatt, Wyatt. He said, Wyatt, he's under the water. There was no heartbeat. There was no pulse. When I picked him up, he was actually face down, his nose at the bottom of the pool.
I see a man coming out, obviously Joe now, with his 3-year-old son. I see Wyatt laying poolside, and he's blue. He's
like the color of your shirt? Or?
Color, probably a little darker than my shirt.
Morris credits the Rams' recent CPR, first aid, and AED training expanded after Buffalo Bills player Damar Hamlin's cardiac arrest earlier this year. That training helped Morris realize the need for an AED, an automatic external defibrillator.
And I could just feel the panic of it all when you feel like you're alone. And I just looked at her in the face and asked her, where's the AED machine?
The boy was revived, then treated at the hospital and discharged some 24 hours later. And coming up later on Good Morning America, more of the emotional reunion between Morris, the boy, and his parents, and what the boy's mom says about his long-term prognosis. Andrea?
So glad that little boy is okay. Thank you, Derek. Coming up, a UFO mystery in Las Vegas.
Also ahead, a stunning achievement at the Women's College World Series.
Do you remember exactly where you were when you found out about Scandival?
The biggest scandal that has ever happened in reality show history.
It's one giant incestuous pool of swapping spit and nonstop drama.
It is shocking. How was I so blind to this? Then I start noticing how close they actually were. I just never imagined Sandoval would have done that to Ariana.
Mind-blowing. Impact by Nightline, now streaming on Hulu.
This was the craziest story.
Randall Emmett, Hollywood movie producer. Lola Kent, reality star, Vanderpump Rules.
This is the juiciest time in reality show history.
How could I not have been smarter?
He was awful to everyone.
This is certainly the underbelly of Hollywood.
I have to put up a big fight.
I do hope he gets what he deserves.
The Randall Scandal. Love, Loathing, and Vanderpump. Only on Hulu.
With so much happening these days, it's hard to keep up.
Things change hour by hour, minute by minute.
The historic weather that's now unfolding.
The worries on Wall Street.
We're bringing you the Right Now, with a nationwide teacher shortage.
The Right Now look at the day ahead. An alert this morning for dog owners and the key takeaways from the biggest stories.
World News Now and America This Morning, America's #1 early morning news.
Today does feel a little different.
Early mornings on ABC News Live.
All right, here we go. Ready? Okay, let's do it. Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now. This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yeah. So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live? What would you do? I guess I just found out. The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Back now with these tense moments in Florida. An officer rescued a mother and her 5 children from this overturned minivan. One of the kids wasn't found until the sergeant saw the child's fingers poking through the sunroof. Everyone is okay. Crews in Phoenix are battling a massive fire on the west side of town. It broke out at this wood pallet facility, sending flames shooting into the sky. More than 100 firefighters responded. Businesses nearby had to evacuate.
Now to a bizarre story from Las Vegas, a possible UFO mystery. It's a scene straight out of the X-Files.
That's unreal. I've never seen anything like it. What are they?
A family in Las Vegas insisting something is out there after allegedly having a close encounter of the third kind.
I swear to God, this is not a joke.
One witness calling 911 after they say an object fell out of the sky and landed in their backyard.
They're like 9 foot, 10 foot tall. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes, they have big eyes.
The mysterious object that fell from the sky, even the officers apparently saw that. The green glow of the alleged UFO is seen on this newly released body camera footage.
I have butterflies, bro. Everyone saw a shooting star, then these people say there's aliens in their backyard.
So when that 911 call came in, less than an hour later, police were ready to believe it.
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
Because I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard?
But after a brief investigation of the yard, officers closed the case as unfounded.
If those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
According to former intelligence officer David Grush, an alien crash landing isn't too far-fetched. Grush recently turned over documents to Congress claiming the U.S. government has a vast collection of vehicles that have non-human origin. An oversight committee in Congress is in the process of scheduling a hearing on those claims made by Grush.
In sports, some late-night drama on the ice. The Florida Panthers scored an overtime winner against the Las Vegas Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup final. But Vegas still leads the series 2-1.
For the third consecutive year, the Oklahoma Sooners are the champions of Women's College World Series. They beat Florida State last night to extend their record 53-game win streak during their 3-year reign. The Sooners have only lost 8 times. 8 times. The softball season is long, too.
Congratulations.
Impressive.
Well, coming up, the backlash over one company's return to the office policy.
Plus, 2 dogs who are inseparable get some good news.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television. Right now in America, with so much at stake, thank you for making ABC's This Week America's #1 news and politics show on Sunday mornings.
You never know what you're going to get on the show. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yes, Whoopi!
This mic on? Can you hear me out there?
Behind the scenes is always a better show.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's what people don't see during the commercial break.
Right.